Welcome to Cape Town News. Today is Sunday, the 23rd of November, 2025, and in case you missed it, here's a recap of the top stories that made headlines in the Western Cape this past week. Cape Town is reeling under a wave of deadly violence after nearly 30 murders were recorded in only 72 hours. The South African National Civic Organization says the Western Cape is not facing ordinary crime, but what it calls a human catastrophe, where fear has become a daily condition for Cape Townians. The organization says children now know the sound of gunfire better than they know hope, and that women are being hunted by predators in taxis, homes, workplaces, and neighborhoods where policing is thin and help arrives too late. Gender-based violence continues to surge across the province, with cases ranging from assaults to murders committed in public and private spaces. At the same time, children are being recruited into gangs, abducted, sexually violated, or caught in gun battles while walking to school. The South African National Civic Organization says the Western Cape is dealing with every category of violent crime at once, including mass shootings, youth assassins, extortion rackets, rural robberies, and drug-linked violence. Illegal firearms are driving the carnage, and parliamentary reports reveal that 193 weapons, including AK-47s traced back to Namibia, have been recovered from crime scenes. The South African National Civic Organization says major routes like the N1, N2, and the R60, as well as coastal corridors, have become smuggling paths that feed gangs and sophisticated criminal networks. The organization has also criticized provincial leadership for ignoring critical warnings. A police ombudsman report delivered to the Premier in November 2022 was kept from the public for 3 years, which the South African National Civic Organization describes as political silence that has cost lives. Communities are now forming their own patrols, sleeping in shifts, arming themselves with makeshift weapons, or negotiating with extortionists simply to survive. Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis paid tribute to Dr Franklin Sonn, the city-born diplomat and educator who passed away on Saturday at the age of 86. The mayor described him as an extraordinary Cape Townian whose contributions shaped generations across the city and the country. He said, Dr. Sonn's leadership in education, diplomacy, and business left an enduring mark on public life, and that Cape Town owes him a debt of gratitude for his commitment to nation building and his vision of a more inclusive and empowered society. Dr. Sonn was a recipient of Cape Town's Civic Honours, which the mayor said reflected his profound influence and moral leadership. Born in Vosburg in 1939 and raised partly in the Eastern Cape before settling in Cape Town, Dr. Sonn went on to become principal of Spes Bona High School in Athlone and later served as rector at the institution now known as the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. He held that role from 1978 until 1994 and became a mentor to countless educators and students. His contribution to higher education continued when he later served as Chancellor of the University of the Free State. In 1995, President Nelson Mandela appointed him as South Africa's first ambassador to the United States in the democratic era, a posting that confirmed his standing as a national leader with an international footprint beyond diplomacy. He served as a patron of the Klein Karoo National Arts Festival and was a trustee of the Desmond Tutu Freedom Trust. Dr. Sonn held 12 honorary doctorates, and in 2008 he received the National Order Councillor of the Baobab Silver for his service. The mayor said Cape Town has lost a great civic architect, and that the city's thoughts are with his family. Cape Town's port in the Western Cape is pushing ahead with a major R4 billion upgrade as the city prepares for the deciduous fruit export season running until March next year. Transport Minister Barbara Creasy visited the Cape Town container terminal to assess readiness for the upcoming export peak and described the investment as vital for securing the country's agricultural supply chain. Transnet Port Terminals has directed most of its capital spending into key national ports, with Cape Town receiving 28 new rubber-tired gantry cranes fitted with hybrid diesel-electric engines and anti-sway technology. 9 cranes are already operational, another 9 are in active commissioning, and the remaining units are being assembled on site ahead of the busiest weeks. Western Cape Terminal's managing executive Oscar Borchards says the new cranes are designed to keep working when the notorious Cape Doctor is blowing, cutting delays that have cost growers in previous seasons. Last season, the terminal processed more than 230,000 refrigerated containers, and roughly 80% of South Africa's deciduous fruit exports moved through Cape Town towards markets in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Industry leaders welcomed the upgrade after years of load shedding, breakdowns, and wind stoppages that strained exporter confidence and threatened jobs in rural towns. To stabilize operations this year, the port has tightened windbound protocols, staggered container stack dates, expanded plug points for refrigerated cargo, and created specialized handling crews for peak shifts. Smaller vessels will be redirected to the Cape Town multipurpose terminal when congestion builds, and additional reefer ships stand ready to help clear any backlog. Export organizations say this season will be the real test of whether years of promises at Cape Town's port are finally turning into reliable performance on the ground and keeping buyers loyal to the Western Cape. The Western Cape's health authorities have issued an urgent call to action as measles outbreaks spread across Cape Town communities, including Khayelitsha, Mfuleni, Eerste River, Somerset West, Mitchell's Plain, Kraaifontein, and Wesband. Officials warn that declining childhood vaccination rates have created serious immunity gaps that are now fueling repeated outbreaks of measles, rubella, and diphtheria across the province. Western Cape Health and Wellness Minister Winde says boosting routine immunization has become a top provincial priority, and that vaccines remain one of the safest and most effective tools for protecting young children. Since last year, the department has intensified outreach programs, sending mobile teams to clinics, creches, and schools in affected areas so that busy parents can access vaccines closer to home. The province has also strengthened its early warning and rapid response systems so that new clusters can be picked up quickly and matched with targeted vaccination drives. Measles is highly contagious and spreads through coughing, sneezing, and close contact, often before a rash appears. It can lead to pneumonia, diarrhea, brain inflammation, and even vision loss, especially in infants and malnourished children. Parents are urged to monitor symptoms such as fever, rash, cough, red eyes, and runny noses, and to keep sick children at home while seeking immediate medical care. Free routine vaccines and catch-up doses are available at all public clinics, while private doctors and pharmacies offer the same protection for families using private care. Winde says containing the outbreak depends on communities opening their doors to health workers, signing school consent forms, and making sure every child's vaccination card is fully up to date, so that Cape Town does not lose more young lives to a preventable disease. Health officials say even one unvaccinated household in a street can leave an opening for the virus to move rapidly through an entire neighborhood. Scrutiny is intensifying around the Western Cape government's purchase of a 64 million rand Tableview land parcel, following sharp criticism from the Good Party and former mayoral committee member Brett Heron, who questioned why the province bought the site when a larger neighboring property reportedly cost just 9 million rand. Heron described the 17-hectare site in the Killarney Gardens precinct as partly undevelopable because 7 hectares form part of a wetland. He said city officials in 2018 estimated the land to be worth about 20 million rand, while the Industrial Park Owners Association placed its value close to 21 million rand, well below the final price paid by the province. According to Heron, earlier negotiations with the private seller brought the asking price down from 88 million rand to 64 million rand, and he argued that the supposedly urgent need to relocate the Sialala informal settlement has not materialized 7 years later. He said trains remain suspended and the province must explain the rationale behind securing the land instead of utilizing city-owned parcels already earmarked for housing near the same corridor. Heron also pointed out that other comparable land deals at the time reflected significantly lower costs per square meter, raising questions about value for money. The Office of Infrastructure MEC Tertuis Simmers has rejected the criticism, saying the province purchased the land only after the city requested urgent intervention, confirming that it needed the site but could not complete its own procurement in time. His office said city officials had already investigated the property, confirmed that most of it was developable, and had themselves offered 64 million rand back in 2017. Simmers said the province simply matched the valuation and price the city had already accepted. The Western Cape government says it will fully cooperate with any special investigating unit process. Cape Town's inner city is becoming increasingly inaccessible to ordinary residents, with a new local spatial development framework revealing that 70% of all residential units in the central business district are used for hotel management or short-term rentals, such as Airbnb. Only 30% of apartments are occupied by long-term tenants or owners, leaving most locals priced out of the area. The framework warns that rising tourism demand will further shrink available housing for Cape Townians, whose median income is just over 14,000 rand per month. This makes even the smallest apartments in new developments far out of reach for most families. Inside Airbnb, data shows that the city centre and surrounding areas host more than 5,600 short-term listings, with most owned by individuals and companies controlling multiple apartments. Some hosts manage more than 100 listings. Analysts warn that this concentration of ownership reduces rental stock for residents and inflates prices across the central city. A 2025 study found the average rental for a studio apartment in the inner city exceeded 15,000 rand per month, well above what the average household can afford. Two-bedroom apartments averaged more than 34,000 rand, deepening inequality within one of the country's largest property markets. City planners estimate demand for more than 21,000 affordable units in the inner city over the next 15 years, but warn that at current income levels, more than 90% of residents cannot afford central city housing. The city says it is developing a short-term rental bylaw and considering commercial rates for properties used for tourist stays. Officials also say more than 5,000 affordable units are in the development pipeline, though critics argue this supply remains too slow to counter the scale of displacement. The Western Cape government says its integrated approach to building safer communities is gaining new urgency ahead of the 16 Days of Activism campaign, with Premier Winde joining enforcement leaders in Delft this week to confront the province's most persistent violence challenges. During a safety walkabout, Winde met law enforcement advancement plan officers, South African Police Service members, and city officials to assess operations in one of Cape Town's most volatile areas. Delft Police Station Commander Brigadier Selani Sehlali told the Premier that crime reduction cannot be treated as an us and them issue, stressing that daily cooperation between agencies is the only path towards sustainable safety. Winde agreed, saying, "True progress depends on strong partnerships because violence harms communities and restricts economic growth." He said safer neighborhoods support job creation, which remains the province's strongest long-term defense against poverty-driven crime. Earlier, the Premier and Provincial Minister of Police Oversight and Community Safety, Onro Marais, met Violence Prevention Unit coordinators at Khayelitsha District Hospital. The Premier said violence prevention is a long-term investment, and the province must change behavior at a grassroots level if it wants safer futures for young people. The Violence Prevention Unit analyses real-time trauma data from hospitals to map hotspots and guide targeted government responses. The Department of Health and Wellness has also expanded its Planet Youth initiative, surveying more than 49,000 learners across 123 schools to help communities create protective, opportunity-rich environments. Winde and Social Development Minister Jaco Lont later met gender-based violence ambassadors in Khayelitsha, where mobile phones linked to the social work integrated management system were handed over to support frontline social workers. With more than 600 ambassadors across the province, the Premier thanked them for standing with survivors and expanding government's reach into communities. Cape Town has activated its largest festive season safety deployment yet, placing special focus on gang-affected communities as Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis, MACO member JP Smith, and Community Services MACO member Francine Hyam launched the plan at Muizenberg Beach. The city says law enforcement advancement plan officers, Metro Police Gang and drug task teams, and neighborhood safety officers will maintain daily operations in hotspots such as Kleinvlei, Grassy Park, Steenberg, Elsie's River, Delft, Nyanga, Khayelitsha, and Mitchell's Plain. More than 1,000 LEAP officers will support the South African Police Service daily, reinforcing an enforcement force now bolstered by 700 new recruits since September. The city says high-visibility operations will take place on major roads, beaches, braai areas, and tourism corridors, with the Traffic Service Highway Patrol Unit patrolling highways around the clock and an additional 40-officer N2 safety team deployed during peak travel periods. Lifeguard teams will also expand, with 340 beach lifeguards and 343 swimming pool lifeguards stationed at 29 locations between 10 in the morning and 6 in the evening. Smith said the city will maintain pressure on criminal networks to ensure Cape Townians enjoy a safe festive season, while Hill-Lewis said early tourism forecasts point to another bumper season that will bring economic benefits and jobs. The Identikids program also returns to major beaches, tagging more than 120,000 children last summer to help reunite separated families quickly during the busiest beach days. The South African Reserve Bank delivered long-awaited relief to households after cutting the repo rate by 25 basis points to 6.75%, the lowest level in more than 2 years. The prime lending rate now drops to 10.25%, a shift economists say could ease financial pressure on homeowners already battling high food and fuel costs. The Monetary Policy Committee said the vote was unanimous, noting that inflation pressures from meat, vegetables and fuel are temporary, and that the broader inflation outlook is expected to soften early next year. Property experts are already mapping the impact. Brad Bendall, Betterbond's national head of sales, said the cut will provide real relief to bond holders, especially those locked into large repayments since the rate hikes that began in 2022. Craig Mott from the Rawson Property Group echoed the sentiment, saying, "Buyer confidence has been rising steadily, and the latest rate cut may speed up the return of first-time buyers who delayed purchases during the high-rate cycle." Officials warn that while the cut brings room to breathe, homeowners should remain cautious. Economists expect global oil price swings, food inflation and currency volatility to remain watch points. Analysts say households should avoid taking on new debt prematurely, even as monthly repayments decline. The Reserve Bank stressed that monetary policy could tighten again if inflation rises beyond projections. For now, financial advisors recommend that homeowners channel the savings from lower bond repayments into reducing debt, boosting emergency funds, or preparing for early 2026 expenses. As the Western Cape enters the festive season, consumer spending is expected to climb, and analysts say disciplined budgeting will be key for households trying to recover from 2 years of elevated interest rates. Cape Town's emergency services are facing a sharp spike in vegetation fires after 632 outbreaks were recorded between the 10th and 17th of November, signaling an aggressive start to the fire season. Safety officials say the combination of extreme heat, dry brush, and powerful southeasterly winds have created the perfect conditions for rapid flare-ups across the peninsula. Mayoral Committee Member for Safety and Security, JP Smith, said the southeaster has been a driving force behind the surge, with even small ignitions escalating within minutes. Fire crews have worked extended shifts in recent days, often battling multiple fires at once under difficult conditions. Many of the outbreaks occurred in high-risk regions where dense vegetation lies close to residential areas, hiking paths, and transport routes. The city is urging residents to report smoke immediately, saying early warnings often prevent major losses. The Provincial Disaster Management Center has already activated its wildfire readiness plan for the 2025 and 2026 summer period, following significant incidents in the Overberg, Cape Winelands, and parts of the metro. The largest blaze earlier this month scorched mountain ranges between Bredasdorp and Napier. Authorities say residents should avoid outdoor burning, discard cigarette butts safely, and stay alert when winds strengthen. Hikers and mountain users are urged to take extra care along narrow paths where dry foliage is prone to ignition. With temperatures expected to climb even further, the city is preparing for an intense season and warns that the next 8 weeks will require heightened vigilance from the public. The Western Cape Department of Agriculture says the foot and mouth disease outbreak detected in Gouda on the 6th of November is now under control after swift work by veterinary teams and law enforcement partners. The infected feedlot remains under strict quarantine as veterinarians confirm that no new clinical signs have appeared since the 14th of November. All cattle were vaccinated and tagged according to the Animal Diseases Act, and the farm continues to undergo intensive clinical inspection while samples are tested at state laboratories. Farms in Veldrift and Bredasdorp showed no signs of infection, with Veldrift tests returning negative, while Bredasdorp results are pending. Every property within 10 kilometers of the index farm is under monitored quarantine. 3 farms displayed suspicious lesions, but were later cleared. Veterinary officers are also tracking farms linked to the transport company that moved cattle in the past month. Officials say that if any new cases appear, containment zones and further vaccination blocks will be immediately activated. Enforcement teams remain on high alert across the province to ensure strict compliance with biosecurity rules. The department is preparing to register a designated abattoir for controlled culling of affected animals, which will allow quarantine restrictions to be lifted once the depopulation phase is complete. The search for the outbreak source continues, with the department signaling that legal action will follow for any violation of the Animal Diseases Act. Farmers are urged to halt all movement of cloven-hoofed animals and report any shifts through the Animal Movement app. Minister Ivan Meyer says the response teams acted quickly and that the outbreak has been ring-fenced. He adds that accountability is non-negotiable and that those responsible for illegal movement of cattle will face prosecution. Cape Town's Sea Point Promenade fell silent on Friday the 21st of November as hundreds of Cape Townians joined the nationwide G20 women's shutdown to honor victims of gender-based violence and femicide. Protesters lay down in silence while the names of women and children who were killed in violent attacks were read aloud. Many wore black and followed a symbolic coffin carried through the promenade, creating a funeral-like procession that brought traffic and pedestrian flow to a halt. Others held placards and sang struggle songs while demanding stronger intervention from government. Human rights activist Pabalo Mbedzi wept beside the open coffin as survivors stepped forward to tell their stories. One woman, wearing a black veil to conceal her identity, recalled being told she was too old to be raped. Another survivor, Kuselwa Kafu, urged men to respect themselves and help end the violence. Merlise Jogiat from Women for Change said femicide rates remain shockingly high and that government has failed to give the crisis the attention it demands. Hours later, Minister Velenkosine Hlabisa confirmed that the National Disaster Management Center had formally classified gender-based violence and femicide as a national disaster under Section 23 of the Disaster Management Act. This decision triggers multi-sectoral prevention and response measures and requires all spheres of government to activate contingency plans. It also strengthens efforts such as the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, sexual offences court expansions, the Thuthuzela Care Centre network, and policing reforms. President Cyril Ramaphosa says women across the country are crying out for protection and that extraordinary action is now required. Civil groups like Operation Dudula have also confirmed peaceful protests during the G20 summit. Tomorrow brings clear and settled conditions across the Western Cape, with fine skies stretching over Cape Town for most of the day. The city will start around 17 to 18 degrees, before warming into the upper 20s by the afternoon, under bright sunshine. A steady southwesterly wind will pick up later, helping cool the coastline as the day moves on. Inland areas remain warm and dry. Paarl will begin close to 16 degrees and climb to about 31 by early afternoon. Stellenbosch will sit in a similar range with warm sunshine and light winds, making for a comfortable day outdoors. No rainfall is expected anywhere in the metro or the winelands. Along the Cape Town coastline, the swell will reach between 2 and 2.5 meters from the southwest, with a long 14 to 16 second period. High tide arrives at 5 o'clock in the morning and again near 5:15 in the afternoon. Low tide follows at 11:20 in the morning and just before midnight. Sunrise is just after 28 minutes past 5, and sunset is shortly after 7:30 in the evening. The ultraviolet level will be very high around midday, so sun protection is important. It should be a warm and refreshing start to the new week. With that, we wrap up this week's recap, and now you know what's happening in the mother city. Thank you for watching Cape Town News. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. We appreciate your support. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget, the next bulletin drops tomorrow at 12 noon on YouTube. Meanwhile, stay safe, informed, and connected.